Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BNR. It's the Red Zone. It's Sunday. It's been a bit of a mad weekend, but here we are. Well, to be fair, boys, I was expecting a full house tonight. There's 4 of us. Asim has promised me he's going to be joining in the next 10, 15 minutes. But I'm joined by Avi, Jake, and Ben. Yeah, boys. First and foremost, guys, how are you? How are you? Jake, I'm not going to ask you how you are because I know how you are, mate. You've already given me a 5-minute spiel on it. So let's leave it at that. Avi, how are you, man? What's going on?
You just spoke to me about an hour ago, so
I know, but obviously people want to know how are you, man. Innit?
I'm good. Yesterday was actually had a few drinks last night. Can't lie, did have some gin and sodas, and then I was watching the boxing. Jesse Bam Rodriguez was fighting. Then Manny Pacquiao came back at the age of 48, he looked really good against Lucas Barrios. He got robbed over decision, to be honest. So Pacquiao should have won his 8th title. And then the UFC, Max Holloway against Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's final fight in his hometown of Louisiana. Great fight. But Max Holloway still the BMF. BMF stands for the baddest MF. So, it was a sporting night. And then today, watched a glimpse of the Liverpool game, which we'll talk about, and people are saying, oh, it's only a friendly and it's only a preseason. But lots to be excited about, like Ben said backstage.
Ben, how's your weekend, man? How's things? What's new?
Very good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, pretty chill day yesterday. I saw that Asim was going live for the early evening show on Saturday night, and so I just messaged him and said, "Do you want some backup?" And he got me on there. So we had a good little session yesterday evening, and then you crazy guys did the super late show last night. I was catching some Z's tucked up in bed. And then today, just been out to Manchester this afternoon with a few of my friends, just catching up, having a few drinks and stuff, which was nice. And then come home and saw the Reds doing the business against Stoke, which was really good to see. Gets us excited seeing them getting on the plane now to Japan. So really pumped for the start of proper pre-season, and can't wait to get going.
Yeah, look, guys, you got both of you mentioned. I'll come to you, Jake. Both of them have mentioned the friendly, obviously behind closed doors against Stoke, and also jetting off to Japan. I'll come to you first, Jake. Good. I don't know if you managed to catch the highlights, the extended highlights, or the highlights of the game, but from what I saw, the Reds look good.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I don't know how much we can take away from this closed door friendly, if you will, but I did see the highlights. It's about what you would expect, with the squad that we have and the squad that we faced. I know a lot of people were just going to suggest, just like I did, that it is just a friendly, and it is just a friendly, but at least it's good to put a good performance, to put a good performance down whenever you can, regardless of who the opponent is. So it's one of those things where if you perform well, it doesn't really matter, but if you perform poorly, it looks really, really bad. So it's good to get that out of the way. A nice, 4-0, 5-0, whatever the result was, ended up being, and to kind of kickstart the unofficial preseason, if you will.
Yeah. No, Avi, I don't. You mentioned that you managed to catch some of the highlights. Not sure if you saw the extended ones or the ones where you saw the clips of the goals and the chances missed, etc. But Darwin Núñez hat-trick. Szoboszlai started in the right back position. Interesting that.
Kudos to Asim, who's kind of advocated for it, hasn't he, for the last even the back end of last season. So kudos to him. Yeah, I just saw the goals. I know someone has put the extended highlights, and I think Ben said he caught the extended highlights. I didn't. I saw the goals. Darwin, short hair Darwin, man, I've been saying it. Once he cuts those locks off, he'll be a demon. And hopefully, wherever that may be, maybe still at Liverpool and maybe at a new club next season, he will get goals and he will score goals. And we wish him well, whatever the future holds for him. We don't want any negativity towards him. He's tried his best, and look, he was instrumental. Maybe not the major mainstay of our team, but he's been instrumental in our success over the last few years. So, whatever the future holds for him, we wish him well. And hopefully everyone gets in a settled place. Wirtz, apparently the rumors are that he was like, and I saw bits of his 1-2 touches, Gene, from that 10 position. He's a Rolex for me. He's a masterful timepiece. And I can't wait till forget about the season. I can't wait till we get to Asia, play AC Milan, and then Atletico Bilbao. And I know we've got a couple of other games in Asia as well. So it's going to be exciting times, and there's lots to be excited about, lots of business to do. But on the footballing front, yeah, I was happy to see the boys again, and I'll definitely be watching the extended highlights after the show.
Yeah, look, I watched the extended highlights, and I'll be honest, I thought the fullbacks were unbelievable from what I saw. All of them, every single one of them that played in that fullbacks position. Frimpong, I thought he was fantastic, especially when he came on in the second half. Even Soboslai, the way he was coming into the 10 position, it was really like refreshing watching. Look, for me, it's not like Jake mentioned. It's not about 5-0 or we think it is always about how settled this team looks. Is there patterns of play that we can already sort of see? That's the sort of things that you want to see in pre-season. But Ben, you managed to watch the full 13 minutes extended highlights. What were your thoughts? Number one, on the performance, and what sort of players for you sort of stood out?
Yeah, it's obviously you have to caveat everything because of the standard, etc., etc. But you have got to look at little situations, and yeah, the one that jumped out straight away that was on the extended was the link-up play with Bradley and Frimpong. There was one move where they played a couple of 1-2s between each other, put Frimpong in, absolutely rinsed their fullback, pulled it all the way back. But the most important thing as well is that final pass. It's all well and good having Theo Walcott type pace, but if you can't put it on a plate for someone or find a man, then it's sort of pointless. But he didn't. He pulled it back and put it right in. Funnily enough, Lucas Stevenson's. He's put it on a plate for him and he put it over the bar, which was a shame. But then literally about 10 minutes later, I guess it was, he done exactly the same thing and put it to the back stick for Gakpo to square to Chiesa. So yeah, it's all positive signs, isn't it? I'd much rather be winning 5-0 than getting beat 4-0 like a certain team did yesterday. You know, slightly different opposition, but at the same time, you know, as I say, it's all confidence boost. It's all confidence building. I thought Szoboszlai played top of the box, like the way Bradley did in the Preston friendly. It's got Hakimi written all over it, that position at the moment. He is popping up right in the middle of the D. So if he's starting from a right back position, but popping up there against your bottom 10, then that's exactly the sort of that's a fluency that you want. Salah played an absolutely sensational inside pass into Jones to set up the second or third goal, I think it was. And then, as we've seen, it was only a little glimpse of Wirtz, but my word, he's one of those players. There's not that many of them, but when you see them, you can just see it in that it looks like everybody else's. It's in slow motion when he's on the ball, because he can slow the game down. He just brushed off their player, plays the right pass when's required, and I say straight from the kickoff, he literally just put Szoboszlai through, who got a one-on-one blocked, and then Darwin obviously mopped up, and then Szoboszlai played a fabulous ball in for Darwin's seconds, which again really encouraging stuff. So yeah, really positive stuff. Really positive.
Ben, I'm not sure. Sorry, Gina, I was going to come in. Lucas Stevenson, was he starting in midfield today? Because I saw him pop up going forward, playing a couple of 1-2s. And popping up in the final third. I'm not sure if he had a little role.
Come on as a sub.
Okay.
Yeah, he come on as a sub. Yeah, so I think it was Costas who played left centre back and Konate second half, and then Stevenson must have come on as a holding midfielder. Yeah, so he obviously broke forward, but it was only in like the last 20 minutes I think he came on for. The substitution numbers dropped in, but yeah, I think he came on as a holding midfielder, so that's obviously why he was there. But yeah, it shows I thought it was really interesting that you look at the squad that's just been released now, 29-man squad, no Chiesa, which again we can talk about that, make of that what you will. Apparently it's a little bit of an injury, but he didn't look injured to me, and he scored right at the death. So whether that's just code for a deal is in play, and we'll wait and see. But the squad was really interesting in the fact that there was only Naoni and Rio Ingamoa from the academy that were there, apart from Lucas Stevenson. So, and I think Stevenson's only there because we obviously haven't got any other senior centre backs. But every other tour and every other season, I can remember for the last 10 years, we take 7, 8, 9 academy players on the tour, and there's none this time. So to me, that says we mean business here. The squad's strong. We're going there to train hard. We're going there to train with the first team, and this is not like a jolly. This is like serious work now, which is great to see.
Is Doak part of that 29 squad as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I don't think he probably is classed as an academy player now because he's obviously been out on that loan, hasn't he? But yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he is there, but I still think, to be honest, that if there's a serious bid for 20-25 million comes in towards the end of the window, then they'll let him go because of the options that we got. Because if Frimpong's anything to go by, my word, he can cover Salah if needs be.
Yeah, look, coming to you, Jake, in terms of when I actually saw the team lineup on the squad, and Luis Diaz wasn't actually in the squad for this one, and then you see him going to Japan, and Chiesa's not in the squad, and I found that a bit baffling with everything that's going on. And I thought maybe, obviously, with the news coming out regarding Luis Diaz's move, but then he's on the plane, and then Chiesa literally just scored. And he's not on the plane. Obviously, we've been told that there's a slight niggle, whatever, a little issue. That's what we've been told. But it was interesting to see Diaz not start, but then on the plane to Japan. You're on mute, mate.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction as well, as far as why they were going to hold Chiesa back in and not Diaz. And the first thought that came to my mind as I was kind of thinking this through was they're kind of playing hardball with Diaz, and their stance, at least publicly, has been, we don't want to sell him, but if we get an astronomical offer, then we'll consider selling him. I don't necessarily think that that's what their stance is. I think they have a figure in mind that isn't as astronomical as they're setting forth. The public number has kind of been 100 million euros. I don't have any information to suggest otherwise. It's just my personal opinion that we're not going to get 100 million for him, and I think they would sell him probably for something closer to around 80, maybe 85. But because they're playing that stance publicly, they got to kind of continue that stance privately, if you would. If they were to hold Diaz off like they're doing with Chiesa, then maybe other teams like Bayern per se would think that, okay, this team doesn't want to keep him. They're ready to sell him. And maybe from a negotiation standpoint, they would be able to say, we're going to be able to get you for less than what you're publicly stating at this 100 million figure. So
breaking news. Jake, I'm very sorry to cut you off while you're speaking. There is breaking news. Actually, I might have to go here. Breaking: Newcastle's United's forward Alexander Isak's agent has said, we are studying and analyzing our options, and we may be close to finalizing the next step for the player without revealing any details of a transfer. Jake, your thoughts on that as you were speaking, so apologies for that. Game on, boys.
Where's that come from?
That's a Saudi Arabian newspaper, Ariadia, if I've said that rightly, via KSA Mags. It does seem legitimate, though, from what people are saying.
It better be bloody legit.
As well.
It better be bloody legit. We just stop the show for it.
Jake,
it better not be bloody yellow like buffalo thingy goes tomato sauce, mate. It better be a bloody good sauce, Avi. I know your sauces from the past.
The first thought that comes to mind is, while reading this, is we may be close to finalizing the next steps for the player without revealing any details of a transfer. So, my first question is there a transfer involved, or are we talking potentially about an extension at Newcastle, which I don't think that's what that reads. But I just want to be 100% sure before I comment on it. And if it does read as what I believe that it reads, then it's most likely not an extension, and it most likely is a transfer to another club, because it says without revealing any details of a transfer, which is leading me to believe that the transfer is involved. Then it's just going to repeat what I've been saying for the last, handful of months, which is I always thought we were going to go in for this player. I always thought there was going to be a possibility of us landing this player. I know I've been off the show for the last, handful of days where things started to look a little bit more grim in regards to us landing Isak, but my stance hasn't really ever changed. I've always thought, even when the news with Ekitike first broke, was that we're not out of this Isak race just yet. So to answer your question, this is encouraging, assuming that this is legitimate, which I have no idea if it is or if it's not. But if it is, this is very, very encouraging, and it just leads me to believe even more so that this saga with Isak is just getting started. I've always suggested that this is going to be a long, drawn-out situation. This was never, for me, going to be a situation where we go in for the player and Newcastle just says, okay, this is what we want for him, and you can have him. I knew it was never going to unfold like that. When you're dealing with transfers of this magnitude, they very, very rarely go that way. So it's very encouraging to say the least. I will repeat what I said the last time I was on the show. I will be surprised if Isak is not a Liverpool player come September 1st, end of the transfer deadline window.
Ben, I want to come to you. Ben, I want to come to you because there's rumors from the Saudi league that there's not been a marquee signing of the summer just yet in that part of the world. And surely Al Hilal aren't serious about this Isak signing. And surely Isak at 25 isn't looking at that league and thinking, okay, it's a major payday. I'll score bags of goals, do 2-3 years and come back to Europe. Surely he wants to remain in Europe and hopefully, wants to come to us.
Who knows? The quotes have come from a Saudi newspaper. So does that mean that is a possibility? Is there a discussion where Newcastle are not in a position to be able to offer him the 250, 300k a week because of the PSR rules, but at the same time they refuse to sell him to Liverpool or any other Premier League club in this situation? And therefore, they think the only compromise would be to sell him for an astronomical amount of up to 200 million. He gets his salary, and then Newcastle get 200 million to be able to really do some damage. But I think I'd be very surprised if that was the case, to be honest, because as you say, Newcastle will want that potentially if that's the only option. But at the same time, it's whether Isak wants that or not. And I can't actually imagine that would be what he would want. I suppose the only caveat is that there has been some talk about the idea that players of this level can go to Saudi for a year, fill the pockets, and then come back into Europe. And, but he's not getting any younger, is he? He's at the prime of his career. So I don't know, what's his motivation? Is his motivation to win titles and trophies, or is his motivation to be a richer man than he is today? And we obviously don't know that, do we?
Gina, he says next step there, and I want to ask you the question. I know you're doing a great job hosting, but let me come in a little bit. He's like,
I'm
it's Chip and Gene anyway.
to be honest.
It's Chip and Gene anyway. Chip and Gene Sunday, but in a more smarter and intelligent way. Gina, next step. That doesn't suggest to me that he wants to renew a contract. That's not a next step. A next step is your trajectory going up. So
Agreed.
looking for a move away, in my opinion, anyway. That's what next step for me means. In any job, in any profession, when we say we took the next step, it's you're using moving places in the professional world. Is that what suggests to you that he wants to go to another club or he wants to move to another club?
Two ways of looking at this. Generally speaking, Avi, if somebody says, next step, you think it's a step, it's probably a step up generally, right? But some people might interpret it as a next step in his career, meaning it might be a Saudi, it might be that, financially, it's a huge step. So look, I get it, but if I'm Alexander Isak, and most players in world football at 24, 25, I would be very, very surprised to see them leave for Saudi, especially if it's somebody like Isak, arguably one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best. And for me, it doesn't make sense for him to leave right now. I get it, 27, 20, maybe 28, 29. Sometimes, you're thinking last contract, biggest one. I can get it. You know what? They are throwing the money around in Saudi. He will be offered an unbelievable contract. What makes it slightly difficult is because he's already playing for Newcastle, PIF-owned, and that makes it a little trickier because he's already playing for the PIF-owned club, so it does get difficult. But if I'm Alexander Isak and I want to go and, play for a Liverpool who's willing to still give me, good money and pay at the highest level, want to win Champions League. He's always spoken about going and, winning titles and Champions Leagues. Then you're not going to get that in Saudi Arabia, are you? You need to be playing at least in Europe. So the only team, if I'm honest with you, with that, from what I can gather from the agent, is that it's Liverpool. Liverpool, we all know, are all in. We've made it practically crystal clear to everybody out there that we're practically willing to do whatever it takes as long as we got encouragement. And I don't know what more do we want in terms of encouragement from yesterday's House interview and today's agent talk that's just come out now. And, he might be using the Saudi as a way of getting the news out. Maybe he didn't want to go all out in the English. It's an easy way of bringing the news out via a Saudi source, all that type of stuff. They might see it that way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But for me, all of this is good news. All of this is a ploy of getting it to where he needs to be, where Newcastle then can say, okay, you know what? He wants to leave the football club really in summer.
Ben,
sorry, Gene, sorry, I was just going to say, the brilliant thing for us is that we are in now such a relaxed position because we've got Ekitike over the line. That's done. So if worst case scenario, we don't get Isak, we're not like go scrambling to the end of the window, desperate to get a striker in. We'd love him. We've got the money to do it, it appears. We obviously have made our feelings clear about how much we want him, but it's not like a be all and end all situation. If at the end, towards the end of the window, we know we're not going to get him, we could drop something on for another backup striker and we go with what we've got. So I just think we're in such a strong position at the moment. Sorry.
Ben, no, it's coming back to you. I was trying to ask a question to you, Ben. Yesterday we saw, I think Gene just mentioned, Eddie Howe come up with a, he came to the press conference after Celtic battering them 4-0, and he said that we had kind of sent Isak home and, his best decision, but he's going to be on the trip next week with us. I think they're going to America or Asia as well themselves. But what did you make of that? For me, that suggests that Isak hasn't down tools, but he's told the club his intentions, and the agent has said to the club, to this, to Newcastle, that my client wants to play elsewhere being Liverpool. Is that how you thought of it when you?
Yeah. So there's two key points for me. I watched the stream back this morning that we had last night, and the word desperate was used, and that for me is key. He said, he categorically said, we are desperate to keep him. So that language says that they're worrying that they aren't going to keep him now. And then the other big point for me is that what changes in the next week or two in terms of what stops Isak not playing against Arsenal, because he's still unhappy. Nothing's changed. And for me, the only thing that changes is that he gets his move, be it Liverpool or be it, I don't know, madly Saudi Arabia, or they give him a new deal, 250, 300k a week, because nothing else is going to fix this. He's not just going to suddenly wake up on Wednesday morning and go, I've had a change of heart, I'm more than happy to carry on with what money I'm on. Let's go for it, guys. He's unhappy, he's unsettled. So unless somebody can do some serious coaching him round over the next few days and say, listen, just give us one more year on what money you're on, I don't think that situation is going to resolve itself without one of these two things happening.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he easily could have just squashed the whole scenario. If Eddie Howe would have come out yesterday and say, listen, Isak is a Newcastle player, he's going to be our player this season, end of story, there's no discussion moving forward, it would have been squashed. And everybody would know there's no deal that's going to happen. Now, that doesn't suggest that there's definitely going to be a deal, but what I'm suggesting is there is a story here, and it's going to have to be resolved before the end of the window. So there's an opportunity, the door is open, and whether we can take advantage of the opportunity or not remains to be seen, but the case isn't closed. That's for certain.
100%.
Great point, Jake. Our very own Kya Kar Sakte has arrived in his Sherwani. It looks like a Sherwani you're wearing today. Kya story?
Just a family occasion, Avi. Family occasion.
Okay.
Congratulations to
all.
Sorry?
Good to see you, brother. Long time no see.
Likewise, man. Likewise, Jake. Likewise, man. And good to have you back on screen. Ben, what's happening?
Sama, yeah, I've just seen your tweet there with the Isak and the light going off. We were just discussing this news that just broke with regards to his agent obviously speaking strangely through a Saudi Arabian outlet, and I don't know what to read into that, but I was just saying about yesterday's stream is having a chat about it and saying something's got to give in the next few days.
100%, Ben. I don't know what you guys have probably been discussing Isak. We've seen this news. I think this is his agent telling Newcastle that you have to do something. And I think Newcastle are in a position where they don't want to sell. They don't want to give him a contract, which he deserves. We've been talking about it for the last 3-4 days, 3-4 weeks probably, that they're going to be in this position. And the longer the window goes on, Newcastle as a club are getting cornered, and their fans, we've seen a couple of fans over the last couple of days coming into the streams during the day and in the evening, as you've seen, Ben, is their fans. I think Gaz put it up yesterday saying, Asim, you know what? I think we're in a position where we must take the money now, because we don't want to be in a position where we're in the last week and we've got 150 million or whatever it is to spend, and the whole world knows, and they've already lost Ekitike. They've already lost. I believe if they were reasonable 2 weeks ago when we made that initial approach, I probably think that we don't get Ekitike. We get Isak, and we may look for another. But because we had to go get Ekitike, because we know that he is capable of becoming another Alexander Isak. Newcastle, the reason why, whether they were calling our bluff or whether it was genuine, they know in 2 years' time, this guy's got the potential to be a really good established Premier League, Champions League striker. But they've missed out on him because we've got the money. They could take the risk. We couldn't because we've got the money. But we've also, more importantly, been treating and continue to do so, treating Alexander Isak as a unique case. Whether we spend 150 or 350 million pounds on other players, Alexander Isak this summer, next summer, in January, will be a target for Liverpool Football Club. And that's what it is. And we've seen plenty of threads. Shout out to Mo Chatra. I thought that was a great thread by him earlier. We have got the money. We have got the money to go. But it also needs Newcastle to let their guard down a bit, soften their stance, and just sit on the table and do a deal. And that's what, day by day, as the clock is ticking, the pressure is cranking up on Newcastle.
Awesome. One question for you. Any significance to the fact that it's a Saudi source that's reporting this? Does it have any significance at all to you?
Look, what I don't want is Alexander Isak to go for 200 million to Al Hilal, and then he goes for 50 million back to Newcastle in January.
Or loans back now. That's the other thing.
Because we've seen, I won't be surprised, mate. We've seen a lot of strange things.
That money laundering.
Well, we've seen it before, haven't we, Jake? So there is a stance. Maybe, look, the agent is talking to Newcastle saying, look, he wants to move. But maybe it's Newcastle putting that news out as well, where telling Liverpool it's 150 million. And if you're 120 million, it just won't make the cut at the moment. So we can sell him to Saudi for 150, 160 million pounds. But are you willing? Do you want this player so much that you're willing to pay 150 million pounds? So it could be either or.
Do you think 150 is a deal breaker for the club? I don't think so.
What do you mean? Like Liverpool are prepared to go more than 150?
No, 150. Let's just say the price tag is 150, not a penny less, and the club's at 120, just based on what we've heard so far. My question to you is, will the club pay 150 for Isak? I say yes.
I think yes. We just need Newcastle to sit down on the table.
I agree with you.
That's just shut us all up, hasn't it?
Have you carried the show, man? What's wrong with you?
You're back now, innit? So I'll let you carry on.
I don't know what you guys discussed.
Gina keeps coming in and out, Kya baat hai?
I don't know.
We just spoke about the friendly, Asim. Yeah, we just spoke about the friendly. We haven't really started on transfers really until that news broke. Avi just jumped in there with that piece from Saudi Arabia, but up until then, it was just literally going over how unbelievably amazing Vert is going to be and how fast Frimpong is, and that we should probably keep Darwin Núñez and give him another 5-year deal.
Look, I think the Isak saga will just it'll keep on going. It'll keep on going. I think Avi was mentioning a couple of shows ago that we were saying, look, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Because I believe if Darwin Núñez leaves, we need another striker who's comfortable up top. And the official line now from Liverpool this evening is Federico Chiesa. I think, I don't know exactly what I read, but I just read a few WhatsApp messages before I come on. That is a bit of a niggle. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, he's got a knock, yeah. But he scored in the 91st minute. So, he seemed all right up until the end. So
it looks like he's going to go then, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. And Jake made a great point as well by saying Diaz didn't play, but he's on the tour because we want to obviously save face and say, as far as we're concerned, Diaz is part of our squad for the new season. He's not going 100%, anywhere 100%. Because he's very much part of the team. And unless someone comes up with a stupid bid, that's how it's going to be. So that's right.
Is there a situation where we're not selling Diaz because we want to know where we stand with Isak, and we may get drawn into this long saga over the next 30, 40 days or however long this transfer window is open for, and until we don't get confirmation that Isak's available, or we've definitely got a chance in obtaining him, that it's delaying other deals in terms of Diaz, because we know Diaz can play as a false nine. If Ekitike is coming in, we want to make sure that we've got a spare part, not a spare part, but like an important player as well in Diaz to fill that gap, just in case Ekitike will take time to acclimatize himself, to get used to the Premier League, the roughness and, the hard-hitting sort of tackles that will come in from central defenders, that we've still got Diaz as a second option.
I don't think so. Let me take this one, because I literally was just thinking about this before we came on the show myself. I think regardless, and just to be clear, I've said this the entire summer, I think Diaz is gone. But let's just pretend for the sake of the argument that we keep Diaz, which I do think, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I do think there's more than a 0% chance that we keep Diaz for this season. I think there's a possibility, even though I do think he's going to be sold. I don't think it's impossible that he's part of the team next season. So in that scenario, I still think we sign Alexander Isak, because Chiesa is going to be gone, Darwin's going to be gone, and then you have who left in attack? You have Ekitike, you have Gakpo, you have Salah. In that scenario, somebody has to come in, and Diaz, of course. You can't go into the season with 4 attackers. So somebody has to come in. And if we're going to sign an attacker anyways, my opinion, the guy at the top of the list is Alexander Isak. So I think Isak is coming in regardless of what happens with Diaz. I still think Diaz is going to go. And I think there's going to be another name that comes in the door, whether that's Rodrigo or somebody else. I have no idea. But I think Isak is coming in regardless of what happens with Diaz.
Where's Ekitike's head in this, though? Do you think we've sold him that you're going to be the linchpin, the tip of the spear for the attack? Or do you think we've said you're going to be a part of a team, but there's a good chance there's someone way better than you coming in 2 weeks' time, and you're just going to be, a bit part player?
I think this is, the jump that he's making from Frankfurt to Liverpool. We don't guarantee everyone that their starting place, sorry. With Liverpool at the end of the day, yeah, Isak is going to come and he expects to start because he's at a different stage of his career. He's just proved that he's Premier League proven, scoring 20 plus goals in 2 years consecutively. And is he a generational talent? Probably not yet. But
he doesn't have to be that, Sim.
Exactly, he's a world-class striker, and that's what you mean, and that's what matters. But I think we're just bringing him as a look. You're versatile. We really want you. You are, but he's not under no illusion, Ben, that he's going to go to Liverpool from Frankfurt and expect to start week in, week out. But what does go for him, and we saw plenty of journalists saying in the last couple of days that, Arne Slot and Liverpool see him as a really versatile forward. And although I question that in terms of starting on the left and right on paper, but what he does have is, and we've seen in those 30 minutes highlights of the game, Liverpool's interchanging on fluidity is unbelievable. So there's no formation. As long as you're adaptable and really versatile, you can be found in so many zones in the pitch. And that's what goes to him. And the best thing about Ekitike, I've been watching, yes, he's raw. He's really young and he's not the finished article, but he's got the traits to be a connector, where in settled play, where you're facing 5 at the back, 4 at the back, he can combine players because he got the football IQ and the intelligence. But he's an outlet. So I called him a Bobby Firmino-like. I'm not saying he's a Bobby Firmino because he was the ultimate connector, but he's a Bobby Firmino-like on wheels, because he's an outlet on when you're struggling and you hit the ball 50 yards and he can chase it and run defenders in behind. But he's also got the IQ to connect play as well. So look, but he's not under no illusion that he's going to think and he's going to start straight away, because there's world-class players wherever you look, Ben.
It's a similar opinion, Ben, when we signed Jota from Wolves. We still had Bobby, we still had Mane and Salah in the POM, and when Jota came in, he wasn't guaranteed, and he would have thought to himself as well, look, how am I going to get into this front three? But he made his way in, scored goals, important goals. He was a 1 and 2 in the first 3 seasons of playing for Liverpool. I think Ekitike, the project's been sold to him, and he would have been attracted to that project, especially at 23. And he's been at PSG as well. He's seen the Lionel Messi's, the Neymar's, the Mbappe's, and he couldn't sort of force himself in. But at Liverpool, he'll get a real chance. And we know there's plenty of game time where we're concerned, Champions League, Cup games, and the league as well.
Yeah, and Slaughter's always said that he wants, he wants genuine competition and two players in each position who he can actually trust and go with. Whereas, we saw from last season, we had players like Elliott and Chiesa who are good players, but he didn't want to use them at all. So you feel like he's got Ekitike, then he will actively use them, and there will be obviously plenty of opportunity to rotate. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if it's a 60-game season, then we'll need everybody. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest. I agree with everything that you guys have said. I think in terms of Ekitike, he's gonna know that he's going to play for one of the best football clubs in the world. And when you turn up to one of the biggest and best institutions, the minimum you're gonna expect is another world class player playing in that position, which you're gonna have to fight for. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But guys, we've got 1,100 people in the chat. Guys, smash that like button if you haven't subscribe to the channel. And also there's only 272 likes so far. Let's get this likes up to at least 500. We need to be on at least 500 in the next 10-15 minutes, so smash that like button. And yeah, I'm going to go through the members, a couple of new members who have joined the BNR Ultra.
You need super chat as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through them. So first and foremost, Kevin Lade. Kevin Lade's become a new YouTube Ultra. Big up to you. Respect
Has
to him.
he got a beacon on his head, that Kevin? Look at his head. Wow. Go on, Kevin.
Big up to him because he actually did put up a message. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and he said, as soon as my money, some coin comes through, I'm gonna become a member. So he stayed true to his word. Joined as a member as soon as I got some coin as promised, gents. Loving the streaks.
He got paid on Sunday. Who gets paid on Sunday?
And whatever job he does, it's a Sunday job.
He must be on. He must be trading Bitcoin because crypto is always 24/7.
So big up to him. Another new member, Jay. Big up. Jay's become a BNR Ultra, so big up to him too.
Go on, Jay. Kya kar sakte hain?
Yeah. For those of you who have, if you do have a WhatsApp group, send Asim a message or the BNR Twitter page, and we will get you added on that. Loads of content coming your way. Couple of super chats. I will bring up Ash's first. Big up, Jake. Look, good to see you back, and you deserve a lot of credit. You've been banging on about Isak for about 9 months. I'll never mention Amarin again. Big up, Ash. And to be fair to Jake, I'll let you take this. I know, we all know you've been banging on about Alexander Isak.
I don't want to count my chickens just yet. We haven't landed Isak. I still think there's a long way to go. As I mentioned just a couple moments ago, I don't think this saga is anywhere near over. Since the day the fixture list came out, I think it was the 18th or whatever of
June.
Yeah, exactly. Lost track there for a second. Since that day, and I noticed that we played Newcastle before the transfer window closed, I had a gut feeling that there was no way Newcastle were going to let us have Isak for that match going up to St. James Park. So in my mind, before that, and that just confirmed it in my head as an opinion, of course, this was going to be a long drawn-out saga. So until Isak is landed, I'm not going to celebrate. But as things stand right now, in my opinion, the case is still open, which for me is good enough.
Imagine if he doesn't play. Oh, my word.
What if he doesn't go? When do they fly out to Asia? Do you know?
This week.
Listen, number one,
they fly out on Thursday, don't they? I think Newcastle fly out on Thursday.
As a Red, I will be joining him there at St. James Park. If Isak doesn't sign up until after, then I'm going to wait for my trip to the UK for a couple more months. But if he's a Red, I'm coming to St. James Park.
Just to add fuel to the fire, they play Arsenal on Saturday in their first tour game. So that's a massively high-profile game, even for a pre-season game, isn't it? There'll be media galore for Arsenal and for Newcastle. And if he's not involved in that game, it's just going to keep going and going and going, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just hope his passport's out of date. So
right, guys.
Next
super chat. 20 times LFC. Big up for LFC. This Isak ship has sailed. I think considering Arsenal stalling Gyökeres means he might ending up there. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are Gyökeres for 4 months, so another week or so doesn't doesn't change my opinion on that transfer.
Yeah,
Asim?
he's not going there. He's not going
Yeah.
there. I think Gyökeres hasn't stalled. There's some, like formalities just to get. Arsenal have got a bit of a reputation. A few deals, they pinpoint the player, and then we get the here we go, and then it's a bit of a delay. But I think he's got some stuff to sort out with Sporting Lisbon as well, a bit of paperwork as well.
He's
and stuff
refused
like
to
that.
play for them, so it's really messy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit messy. And Arsenal have been doing this where if they might put it on the player, but as long as they can save 4 or 5 million, in the interim, they don't mind delaying it.
Yeah.
They want to
I
save
I
4 or
can't
5
see him
million on
going
this
to
transfer, but they want to go and sign Isak for 150.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
Lijao, he ain't going there. I can't see him. And I think there's somebody, I saw some news come out on Twitter that in regards to PSR, they're gonna have to sell one of their players very, very well soon, because they might be having some PSR issues as well, in the
Yeah.
foreseeable future. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But
Yeah,
Jake,
yeah.
I'm gonna slightly move on. Coming back to you, let's talk Rodrigo. Obviously, look, Diaz, he wasn't in the squad today, but he's gone to Japan. We've been told, obviously, there's a second bid coming in for Rodrigo. For Diaz in probably a day or two from Bayern Munich. Do you believe Liverpool will replace Diaz with Rodrigo?
So this is a loaded question for me because number one, the report came out today from Diario AS that if we do sell Diaz, very likely that his replacement is going to be Rodrigo. So number one, that's a great update for us to receive. I was on this show probably about 4 weeks ago when we went through all of the left wing options. This was before any of them were off the board. We talked about Leao, we talked about Nico Williams, we talked about Barcola, we talked about Gordon, we talked about Rodrigo. And then at the end of the discussion, everybody chose their number one option to replace Diaz. Out of all those names, my top choice was Rodrigo. So if you ask me now, is this a player that I want? Absolutely, this is the guy that I want as our left winger. And even on the show, I said, if we bring him in, it's not a guaranteed upgrade on Diaz. I'm not 100% sure he's going to walk in the door and bang 15 goals next season. But this guy offers a lot more than just 15 goals. And he's got tremendous upside and potential, which is why I want him. And when you're talking about Diaz's age, selling him and bringing in a younger player with longer higher upside over the long-term future, this is why I want Rodrigo as a player. The concern that I have and that I've always had since anyone's talked about his transfer, whether it was Arsenal fans or Liverpool fans, is this player really going to leave Real Madrid? That's always been the concern that I have, because leaving Madrid is not an easy decision for anybody, especially when you're talking about a player over the course of the last handful of years that's been a mainstay in their 11. Now, we know, of course, moving forward, that may not be the case, but up until now, that has been the case. So I'm not convinced he's leaving Madrid. My gut tells me right now he won't leave this summer.
Wow.
But Avi, Jake saying he's not going to leave. I think we had a conversation regarding this about if he doesn't leave now, when he was left out of every single game from, he never started any World Club Cup game for Real Madrid. There comes a time where you're going to have to leave. We saw the likes of Ozil and a few others, Arjen Robben in the past, when they weren't getting game time for them to kick on their careers. They had to take that plunge and move. I think Rodrigo is at that time now where it's do or die. What's he going to do? Sit on the bench where Alonso prefers Arda Güler, or make that move, go to one of the best sides in the world and become a mainstay in that team?
He may be in limbo, but there was this talk about Vinicius being Saudi's next poster boy too, and they were ready to offer him 200 million a year or 300 million a year. So it might be a situation where Real Madrid may cut losses. I don't believe that Alonso will be a fan of Vinicius and Mbappe in the way he wants to operate. And we've seen the Leverkusen team, the way it was structured. They didn't have any fancy names. Yes, they had the Grimaldos and the Frimpongs and the Wirtz, but it was a team of hard work and being disciplined. I don't think Mbappe and Vinicius are that for him, especially going back that way, especially defending when they're under the cosh. So it all depends on what Alonso has visions for. I think Rodrigo, though, he needs to really think about where he wants to be. He's at 24, and I liken it to Sturridge. When Sturridge was coming through that Chelsea team, under VS Boas, he had that one season, but he was in and out of that team. He had a good return, but it was only that January that we pounced on him, and that's it. We sort of kickstarted his career, albeit, and he had his fair share of injuries, but that's where Rodrigo is right now in his career. At 24, where do you want to be? Because it seems as if Real Madrid don't really fancy him. They're not really telling him that we want to let you go. But what's his desire? Because World Cup is coming next year, and he probably will get selected in that team, in that squad, that Brazilian squad. But if he wants to be the linchpin, it won't be at Real Madrid.
Jake, I want to come back to you. Why do you think? Okay, he's not going to give Alonso the instruction that he wants to leave Madrid. Then where does that leave Liverpool?
So I thought you were going to go somewhere different with this question, which is why you kind of threw me off here. But to answer your question, I don't think it changes all that much. A minimum of one attacker needs to come in, a minimum of one. So whether that's Rodrigo or whether that's Isak, or if they decide to bring two in and maybe it's both of them, that's an entirely different discussion. But as Avi brought up just a moment ago, even though I don't think this is going to be how it ends up unfolding, if you can't get Rodrigo, maybe it makes it a little bit less likely that they sell Diaz. Avi proposed the question: if you can't, or if you're not going to sell Diaz, are you not going to go for Isak? I think it's the other way around. I think if you're not going to sell Diaz, you're not going to get Rodrigo.
But don't you think Liverpool should be have not sounded out Rodrigo on his camp? Because there's club-to-club talks with Bayern Munich. If you're entertaining the idea of Diaz leaving, surely you need to put your plan out to replace him as well.
Of course, it's not very complicated. There's no question Rodrigo's future at Real Madrid is up in the air. There's no question that there's doubt there. What I'm saying is, when push comes to shove and there's time to make a decision, this is just my opinion. It's nobody else's opinion, it's mine, based off of absolutely nothing, is that Rodrigo's going to say, you know what? I'm going to stay at Madrid and I'm going to fight for my place, especially when I consider who's taking his position. No offense whatsoever to Arda Güler, but that's probably a player that Rodrigo looks at and says, I can take my job back from this guy. It's not Mbappe that's taking his job. It's not Vinicius that's taking his job. Of course, those guys are on the left, but technically it's Arda Güler who's taking his job. He's going to look at it and say, I can beat this guy out for a starting 11 position, even if the manager right now is telling him.
But Jake, they've already taken him out. They've already taken his favorite position out already. He's already playing on the right-hand side. So Vinicius and Mbappe have already taken that position. He might be thinking to himself, I've been playing out of position. Now you're bringing in another player, and I've given you guys everything. You bring in another player, and Alonso's starting with him. For me, Jake, it doesn't make sense for him to stay. And another one, and Zaid, big up to you. They've just signed this guy.
But he won't get game time yet.
He won't get game time, Avi, but they've signed him. That's another player that's going to play in his position right now. The only way I believe, Jake, that he leaves is if Vinny leaves. And he goes to his favorite position. That's the only way I believe that Rodrigo will stay at Real Madrid. Otherwise, I'll be shell-shocked for him to stay when especially he hasn't played one game. He hasn't started one game at the World Club Cup. Such a big competition that he probably wanted to play. He didn't even play any of that. The writing's on the wall for the player, no?
Garcia as well, that one that we mentioned yesterday as well, Gonzalo Garcia. He's another talent that's coming through.
Yeah, I think
there's no love for him. There's no love for him at Real Madrid. That's the fact. He's just been part of the flagship Club World Cup. Didn't start. And that's what's the catalyst of all this. He's not starting. He doesn't want to start him. And Alonso's giving giving the media all this bump about, he's not the right technical choice, etc., etc. It's like there's no love for him. He's getting moved from the right to the left to the centre. He wants to be the main man, and he's thinking to himself, I'm a world-class player. Where's the love for me? And he's giving his all. He's trying his best, and he's always number two. He's always behind someone else.
Let me ask you guys a question. All of you guys seem to think it's a foregone conclusion that he's leaving, and I'm not suggesting that he's not leaving. The possibility 100% is there that he's going to leave. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't think he will. But if it's a foregone conclusion, like all of you guys seem to think that it is, why are we still at the point, at least with the media, that his future is still up in the air? It's not decided that he's leaving. If it's a foregone conclusion, why is it not decided that he's leaving and negotiations with club are already advanced? We're not nowhere near that point.
Because that money from Bayern Munich hasn't come. And this is the reason why Luis Diaz is playing.
fluid situation.
So he can't go anywhere else. Liverpool or nowhere for Rodrigo.
Yeah, but they've also got
which of the parties have been linked with him?
Arsenal have had links with him, Asim, in the past.
Very small now.
I don't think. I don't think it's strong.
There's been more links with Eze recently than Rodrigo with Arsenal.
Didn't it come out today as well that Arsenal aren't in the race no more? I'm sure it come out today in one of the Brazilian newspapers that Arsenal are not part of the thing. But Real Madrid have got to maintain their negotiating position. They can't tell the world that they don't want Rodrigo no more, because then it makes it a lot easier. They're going to tell the world that he's a world-class player and we still want him, but if he desperately wants to go, we'll have to do something.
All of the reports have been Madrid want to get rid of him. Everything that's come out is Madrid don't want him.
Not really, because
it's all based on a few things here, Jake. The Diaz situation to Bayern, like Asim mentioned, and then if he goes, then I think Rodrigo is our first choice that we would go in and press the button. Maybe Anthony Gordon as well, as Gene has mentioned as well. But I think Rodrigo would be that first choice. So it's all like a fluid situation. We need the domino effect from Bayern to obtain Diaz to stump up the cash, and then that money, obviously. And I know people say it's not. That's not how transfers work, but it's literally getting one set of funds and transferring it to a Spanish account from Madrid to get.
So all of you guys think that if he doesn't go to Liverpool, then he's staying at Madrid. That's the only out for Rodrigo.
Not necessarily.
That's his agent's job, isn't it?
Fair point, but my point is, all of you guys are saying he has like no reason to stay at Madrid, but then at the same time you're saying, if I can't go to Liverpool, then I don't have any other option.
What doesn't make sense. Think this is a great point by Faraz, by the way. It's a World Cup year, and I forgot that Ancelotti is Brazilian's new boss, right? And he didn't fancy Rodrigo as much in previous seasons. Or I know he got his fair share of game time, but he didn't really fancy Rodrigo. Rodrigo's got a point here. Get away from Madrid, come to Liverpool, new surroundings, make a name for yourself, score goals week in, week out, perform, and get yourself back into that Brazilian first team. And prove Ancelotti wrong as well.
But Jake, him telling Alonso that I want to leave is going to come at the same time where he's spoken to Liverpool. Do you understand? And if he doesn't, that move doesn't materialize, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden he needs to find a club. How many times have we seen that where a player has told the club that, okay, he wants to leave, but the clubs can't agree a fee, and the player stayed there and made a career and gone on to do great things at that club. So it doesn't mean like he's told Alonso, I want to leave, but because Liverpool's move doesn't materialize, that all of a sudden I have to look around Europe to find a club.
But all of the reason why I'm saying this is all of the recent reports that I've read, maybe they're not 100% up to date, is that he's still deciding his future, and he needs to sit down and have a conversation with the manager, and then he's going to decide. So because that's what the latest report that I'm reading is, he's undecided. So it's not a foregone conclusion that he's decided.
I agree with you, but it's also not a foregone conclusion that we let Diaz go, as you guys mentioned. So we have to, first and foremost, I believe Rodrigo does not come in if we don't get Bayern Munich to pull up that money. Simple. We only move on Rodrigo if Bayern Munich
I agree with
the money and get Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
That's
and at this moment in time, we've basically just told Rodrigo's people, we've probably told them that scenario. We'll come for Rodrigo if we get the money for Diaz. Simple as. And he said, okay, sound. Let's wait and see what happens. And it seems to be getting a lot closer with Diaz to Bayern as well. I think it was Pletterberg or one of the others who said there's another big bid coming this week. Doesn't see it. He said that they've gone quiet on Voltemade, I think it is, the German centre forward, trying to get him, and they've said they've put that on hold now because it's all on Diaz. They've got the money to get it because they had 80 million ready to go for Wirtz. We all know that. They're just playing hardball, aren't they? But then at the end of the day, they know that we're in such a strong position because we're like, all right, mates, if you don't want him, we'll we'll keep him fine.
Yeah, it's all about who blinks first.
Yeah,
and it'll be a bit of a snowball effect. Once the first transfer kicks in, you'll see about 3-4 as a result.
We just don't want to leave ourselves in a position where
Rodrigo before you agree to sell Diaz. No, because what happens if Rodrigo says no?
Sorry,
you're gonna have to buy in from Rodrigo before you sell Diaz. It works the other way also, doesn't it?
Yeah, true. But that's what I said. You can't expect Liverpool just to be entertaining bids for Diaz if they're not making contingency plans, and that's what
No,
will
I
be
agree.
happening.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I think the
And
great thing
you know
about
what? Worst
Rodrigo,
case scenario.
I think the great
Sorry,
thing
I was-
about Rodrigo's ability is that he can play off the right as well. He can
Yeah.
provide cover. I know we're looking at Frimpong, and I saw the highlights, and Frimpong was just like on that right hand side, just like bombing down. But Rodrigo is very easily adaptable on the right hand side and the left hand side. That's why the Rodrigo signing for me makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And Avi,
It's that age as well. It's that age, 23, 24. We love that little range, especially someone that meets the metrics. We love that age range to know that he's got another step. He's got that another step to go. Like his trajectory, especially at a club like Liverpool, it's the way up.
no,
100%.
No, I agree with you guys. But Avi, I'm coming back to you. Look, we've seen that obviously Chiesa's not traveling to Japan, your best mate. And then we've got obviously Liverpool being linked to Rodrigo and Isak. And if these players move, Avi, we're gonna have to go in. Look, I know the word from the club was that, you know, there's a slight little issue, but if Chiesa's gone, Darwin's gone, Diaz is gone, you're talking 2 forwards minimum after Hugo Ekitike, no?
Yeah, you are. That would leave us Gakpo, Salah, Ekitike, and then Isak, and then one more. We'd have to go with 5 forwards and then see whether we can get Jaden Danns. I know he hasn't travelled either. Apparently, he's had a setback, or Ben Doak, but I think the consensus is with everyone is that he leaves. And then Rio, Gene, it would just leave Rio as that option, as a 6th option. But then you've got Wirtz as well. Maybe Szoboszlai doing some shifts as a left winger or a false 9. You just never know. There's so many situations right now. But we would still need 2 forwards after Ekitike. And Rodrigo and Isak, they're the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is
I do
that
think there is
possible?
a thing.
That is
Sorry, I was just
possible.
going to say.
Gina, we've proved it yesterday when we were doing the numbers and we were trying to crunch the numbers and the budget and whatnot. We said those deals are possible because of the outlay that we with the incoming transfer fees that we would get for Darwin, Diaz, and maybe an initial loan move for Chiesa with a 12 million sort of maybe buyback at the end of the season.
Asim was getting anxiety thinking about signing 2 attackers in the next 5 weeks. Now you're talking about signing 3. We might lose them soon. Be careful.
No, Ekitike in and then 2 more. You'd say if Darwin, Diaz, and Chiesa get their moves away.
I
this was before Ekitike.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I was just going to say though, I do think if the miracle happens and we can pull Isak off, I do think there's a possibility that they think the Diaz and the Darwin money goes into that Isak deal, and then they may pivot to somebody like a Malik Fofana as the left wing option, so that our left side would be naturally weaker than possibly what it was last season, because we would only have Gakpo, Fofana for argument's sake, and a Rio even, but we'd have Isak and Ekitike, and then you've got the option of being able to
Fofana is an interesting profile. Why? Because I know Rio's 16, and look, he's making headway. He's already scored today, and maybe he may get some cup games this season. But next season, he'll be ready to compete in the first team. If we're talking about the likes of Ethan Nwaneri, who are coming through at Arsenal 17, best believe that Rio will make his headways the season after. Fofana is an interesting profile because I believe we can develop him as a heir to Mohamed Salah. He won't do those numbers, you know, and I don't want to put the mockers on him. He won't do those crazy numbers that Salah's done, but give him time. At 20, 21 years old, he could be that natural successor.
Would you take that, Avi? Would you take that?
Quick question, guys, before we...
Sorry.
I want to stick with Rodrigo. If you're Liverpool Football Club and we're shopping at the top table this summer, and Rodrigo wants you, but you've signed Isak and you're saying we might go for a Fofana, I don't think Liverpool move away from a Rodrigo deal and settle for a Fofana, even if it means, and you know, of course we're going to be paying 40 million pound more, but you would go for that bigger and better player rather than settle for Fofana.
Do you really think we can do 400 million plus players in one summer? Because I think Rodrigo's going to cost close to that as well.
I think Rodrigo...
Ekitike's 90. Vert is 115, and Isak is 150.
67 million outlay is what is it? 69 million pound outlay, yeah, right? And that's if he meets his add-ons, yeah. And if they do meet their add-ons, I don't mind giving them 100 million per player, because they're going to be titles, Champions Leagues, and Ballon d'Ors involved, right?
Yeah.
At Rodrigo, we know the numbers that we were told around 80 million pounds, right? If Fofana's going to cost you 45, 45, do we agree? Fofana's not going to be less than 45
probably,
million. Yeah, 45. It's another 35 million. Why would you go for a Fofana and when you can go and buy a player who's one of the world's, a winger that's renowned, everybody knows him, one of the best players in the world, who gives you exactly that and gives you the numbers.
But it's hypothetical.
I love it.
Say if Diaz goes to Bayern and Rodrigo stays where he is, we're still needing a left winger then, Gina.
Okay, that's different. This is my question was, if Rodrigo's available, and for you would always go for, you would pay the extra money and allow a Fofana.
But if we can only do Isak or Rodrigo, which one would you have?
There's not even a question. Isak, close the door.
Even with the balance,
I go with it, mate.
Doesn't matter.
I want. You know why? My biggest thing about this is we have the main person who is going to give us Salah numbers in terms of output, and our biggest issue is when Salah leaves is going to be who is good enough to give you Salah output. Alexander,
there won't be no one who gives us that output from the off, and I don't think there'll ever be a right winger that gives us. But you share the load, isn't it? We need a number 9 like an Isak to get 25-30 in the league.
Breaking news.
Go on.
Al Hilal have already started talks. You know what? I was just listening to you.
You laughed at me yesterday. You laughed at me yesterday.
With Alexander Isak's entourage and knows the terms of a transfer. Newcastle asking for 130 million euros. Isak has agreed to open negotiations with the Saudis without confirming a move there, but to at least listen to the financial and sporting arguments of the club. And you know what? I was waiting for Chin to show up. I was waiting for you guys to finish this, Rodrigo, because honestly, it just for the last half an hour, when this news broke, I thought, why the hell? You asked me the question as well. So I thought, is this his agent? Is this Newcastle? Is this Newcastle just pushing him towards Saudi, and they didn't want to give Isak to Liverpool and strengthen them and make them the bloody best side in Europe?
Asim, hold that thought. Don't be surprised.
Newcastle are pushing him to Saudi.
Don't be surprised that Al Hilal buy him and loan him back to get around PSL.
I said that.
That's got to be blocked, though. Surely that will have to be blocked.
Listen.
Sorry, Chin. Lord Chin is speaking. Please.
Relax.
Everyone mute themselves.
I'm glad. I am glad that this is happening. I'm glad that, you know what, now is open 130 million euros number. The number's here now, isn't it, Jake? The number, it was 200 million. Now it's 150 million pounds. Now we're down to 130. Well, according to these guys, 130 million euros.
I can be wrong, but this idea that he's going to go to Saudi and be loaned back to Newcastle isn't happening.
That's not happening. And listen, he's not going to Saudi.
Newcastle are definitely pushing him towards Saudi. That's
I would rip that.
Then it's on the player's ambition. Then Asim.
I agree.
That is the player's ambition. If he
that's a great point.
To get 300,000-400,000 a week.
What if Newcastle are not willing to speak to Liverpool?
Nah, man.
No. Isak can dig his heels and dig his feet in and say, I only want Liverpool. They will grant him that. They will grant him.
And they'll say, no, they won't grant him
that. To sign for Al Hilal.
They won't grant him that. We disagreed. No, please let me finish. Me and Jake were just speaking about it, because he goes, is 150 million a deal breaker? I said, no. Liverpool are willing to pay 150 million pounds. Why can't they get Isak? If they are willing to pay 150 million pounds for Isak, Isak will be a Liverpool player by now. So what's stopping him?
When was the last World?
Yeah, man. I'm the host here today. I'm really taking over the show. Listen, I was speaking.
Put everyone on mute, Gene.
Get Asim off.
You know what? You can mute people, innit? I need to know how to mute people, Abby, but they. No, but listen, what I was saying was, this is good news, if you ask me. Honestly, I'm actually quite happy that, you know what, the money is now out in the open. In terms of if it's the fee, we know what the fee is. Now it's on Alexander Isak. Do you want to come to Liverpool Football Club or not? We know the fee. We're ready to pay the fee. If you want to go for the money, by all means, bro, you've sold yourself to money, no issue. But now We know the fee. We're ready to go all in. If the negotiations start, Isak will have to say, listen, my man, I want Liverpool Football Club, mate.
Correct.
And that's it. Liverpool Football Club then will say, Tanji, we're here. We're here.
What-
We know the fee is 130 million. There you go. And he is going to come out and say, I only want Liverpool. Doesn't matter what fee you agree with the club. I want Liverpool. Caicedo, when he went, who agreed? We were willing to pay the fee. What happened?
Asim,
The
there's no
player
way,
wanted to go to Chelsea. This is the same case where the
there's no-
player is going to say, I want Liverpool Football Club.
So why?
Yeah, but let us
according to
speak
that,
now.
according to that, Gene. Okay, go on. I'll
There's
show.
no way that they went to Parkhead yesterday and he said, oh, look, you know what? I want to explore the Saudi option. He's definitely gone and told Eddie Howe and Rumayan and whoever
but
owns that Saudi
It's
saying
also
that
possible.
I want Liverpool only.
Yeah.
Now it's all about
I
ambition.
agree with you. But he could be pissed off at Newcastle for blocking that move to Liverpool.
I don't think they're in a
now.
position to block it, Asim. I don't think
Why
they're in a-
why aren't they in a position to block it?
They can't
because
block it.
usually when a player says I want to go to a club,
Sorry?
that deal will happen.
I agree with you.
They can
What?
block it, man.
Of course they can block it. What I was saying was him going to Saudi and then being loaned back is not an option. Him going to Saudi and staying in Saudi, that's an option.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's the way it's going to unfold, but that's more realistic than him being loaned back. The reason why him being loaned back isn't an option because the whole ordeal that happened yesterday with Eddie Howe and all of that wouldn't have come to light if he was just going to be loaned back to Newcastle anyways. So there would be no kind of disagreement or kick up between the player and the squad if he was just going to go to Saudi and come back. So in my opinion, that's not an option. But him going to Saudi apparently is a realistic option.
Because Newcastle as a club, they'll save a bit of face if he goes to Saudi.
100%, I agree with you 100% that they can block the move to Liverpool and allow him to go to Saudi.
They'll save face.
I'm not saying that that's the way it's going to happen, but I could see that unraveling and that being in the realm of possibilities.
But Isaac's got to sign off on that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He does absolutely.
Isaac, come on, man. Look. From what I've seen of Isaac,
He'll ultimately say he wants Liverpool, and I think Liverpool will be there.
Why wouldn't he?
Liverpool will never walk away. Liverpool will never walk away.
If he goes to Saudi, trust me, look at this age. I don't have no issues with him going Saudi, making the door and all that type of stuff. Fair play, Tika Jah. It's your money. It's your career. It's a short career. You wanna go. I won't think in. But you know when you're one of the best players in the world in terms of a striker, right? For that, I genuinely believe that. And to go at 25 is a bit baffling, especially when you
put yourself in his shoes.
Yeah.
Where you told the club that you want Liverpool, they blocked the move to Liverpool. He's currently pissed off. They're also saying, and his representatives are telling him, okay, if you block the move to Liverpool, then you're telling him, we don't want to talk to you regardless, even though they're willing to pay 140, 150 million pounds. Then give me a new contract then. Show me I'm the prize asset on paper. And you can't give me that as well.
Can't have your cake and eat it, can you?
Asim, what they're going to do.
He can't get the Liverpool move. He can't get the contract extension or the pay rise, I should say. So what's left?
But the value in him in a £150 million player.
They'd rather go get 500 grand a week then.
That's fair.
More often than not, usually gets their move wherever they
I hope so. Look, we don't even know if this is true. I don't know how reliable this Saudi report is. But we're here to speculate.
Well, it is from Loic Tanzi, the Frenchman, the journalist for Le Quipe. So, bit of hit and miss. But let's see. And no one has a clue. Anyone out there that claims to have a clue, they don't. Please. Quality, bro.
I like this.
What's this? Exactly.
Alex, you're on it, mate. You're on it. You're definitely on it.
This is just the story developing. And there'll be plenty of more twists and turns. 100%.
I've take over the Philippines hosting, man. The mark PDA. I'll be straight with you. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how is this going, but you take over now. You take over. I do the super chat.
Nearly 1,200 people watching. Come on, people. We're giving you 2-3 shows a day. All you need to do is smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and head over to the BNR membership and become a BNR Ultra.
I'm loving the consistency, by the way. I'm loving the consistency.
We're consistent. That's the promise we gave our fans. Yeah. And they're returning it with love and support, Avi. Have you been through these super chats? Have you been
No,
through
do
this?
they do these? I've not done these.
Trinidad, thank you so much for your super chat. Good day if McAllister gets hurt or Gravenberg. Are the replacements sufficient for the entire season? If no, why no news on potential midfield deals? He's got a point, Trinidad, that when it comes to the midfield, lads, no links at all. Even a great move for Chien's pick in Adam Wharton. Nothing.
I think he's staying for another season now.
Yeah. It looks like he will stay for another season. And in terms of the midfield, I think right now there are other areas that need addressing ASAP. That's more important. And I think Liverpool will probably go into it thinking Dominic Szoboszlai can do a role there. Curtis Jones can do a role there. Maybe, Endo, we've got him. He's probably staying at the football club for another year at least. So, it's not a position that we really can think, okay, go for. I get it, because I want a midfielder, Trinidad, I want a midfielder. I've said it a few times now. I really want a midfielder, because I think towards the back end of last season, we saw Gravenberg wasn't completely at the races. You could tell he was tiring off. And of course, McAllister is an unbelievable footballer, and he was instrumental. You still want another player, a different type of midfielder, if you ask me, just to give us that physicality sort of option. But if Slot wants to go with this, I'm happy and I will go with it. That's just the way it is. But I don't think we're going to be signing a midfielder this summer.
I agree.
I see someone like Southampton's Mateus Fernandes, Asim, and I know I've talked him up a lot in recent months. For 25 million, I don't know why no one snapped him up. He's a good footballer. He's still 21, Portuguese international. He should be talk of the town with the top 8 clubs. Maybe Spurs may go in for him. Smart signing.
If you look at our options, we've got 6, haven't we? We've got, our first 3 from last year. We've added Wirtz, who can obviously play deeper if required. We've got Jones and we've got Endo. So we've got 6 out, so that's 3 positions and 6 players as an option. And we always have to remember the situation of, like, you can't, if you want to go and buy an absolute belter centre mid, then they're going to want to play. We have to be realistic. We can't, just
breaking news.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Ben. It's all
right. Go for it.
Nicole Shearer has got about 375,000.
Nico Shearer. Good,
Is he
I'll say his
reliable?
name properly.
He's as reliable as Avi. Carry on.
South America. Don't read it then.
Read it.
Liverpool have asked info for Real Madrid's winger Rodrigo as possible Luis Diaz's replacement. Rodrigo is no longer central in Xabi Alonso's plans. At Madrid seems in doubt. Just exactly what we've been discussing.
He's very reliable, by the way.
Liverpool. Is he very reliable?
Is he, Avi? I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, he called the Calafiori deal last summer. He's the first one to call the Calafiori deal.
If you say, I
don't know.
I'm sure he got information on Diaz as well.
I don't know the journalist. I don't know the journalist. But it's a good story, though. It makes sense.
He's got 375,000 followers in it.
It makes sense.
Yes.
I think Rodrigo will be. I think Liverpool.
He's not reliable at all. He's fucking chatting.
But you know what? I think Rodrigo will be a Liverpool player come the summer.
I do. Look, I can Ekitike.
Is it one of those ones?
Ketchup.
Yeah, I do. You know what though? Can we just say as well? It's like how good is our recruitment and DOF departments this summer? We've given them so much shit over the last few years, and they've messed things up and not done things right. We done nothing last summer. They put this big team in place. It's not just Richard Hughes; it's like 3 or 4 others. And my word, I feel as though we're just one step ahead of the game at every turn this summer. I just feel like we're in control of the situation. We're not letting ourselves panic. We're not putting ourselves in undue situations. We're just in great nick, and I just think we're in charge of the situation. I really do. It's so good to see. So it gives you so much confidence for going forwards that this is how we're going to play it now over the next 2-3 seasons. We're gonna boss the window whenever we can.
You guys are getting all excited about some spoofer who gets nothing right that said the exact same thing that I told you guys 10 minutes ago. Madrid do not want Rodrigo. The question is will Rodrigo agree to leave Madrid?
That's the
What I've
thing.
been banging on for the last 30
Jake,
minutes,
Jake,
and none of
Jake.
you guys want to listen to me.
No,
if a
Jake.
club has told the player that he's not wanted, then he's not going to want to stay, is he, Jake? It's not rocket science.
Well, that's up to the player, isn't it? It's up to him to decide whether he wants to
Yeah.
leave.
We
He
told
will
Henderson
move.
that he's not wanted, and we wanted him to go to Fulham for a loan, I think. We stayed at the club.
You did, yeah.
You know, a player like and to Jake's credit, Jake, I think it was day or two ago when I was speaking about Gordon, I was saying if we don't get Rodrigo, Gordon will be the options. And my reasoning for that was Rodrigo might not want to go because he's that type of player that I can say I want to stay another year. I don't know why. He just seems like that type of player. He's unbelievably happy to be at Real Madrid. He's happy, he's played not bit part. He started, but he hasn't been able to completely nail down that position is his, and it's not going anywhere for the next couple of years. So it's always about, can he really, really sustain that? And I'm probably to that sort of level. But I'm with Asim and these. I think this summer, I think he leaves though. I think this is the summer where Jake.
Asim,
He takes that plunge.
I got a question for you, Asim, and everyone can chime in afterwards. Asim, I just want to go through these statistics, if I may.
Of course.
11 goals in 28.
Rodrigo, yeah.
4 in 33. I'm talking about Ekitike. So 11 in 28, 4 in 33, 26 in 64. A total of 50 goals in 151 games.
1 in 3.
Ekitike at 23. At 23 years old.
And 1 in 3 as well.
Now, just explain to me what the data nerds and all the analytics are showing us. That is he ready to explode to that next level where he becomes a 1.1 in like 2 or a 1 in like Salah numbers or number 9 numbers, because those numbers 1 in 3 are similar to what I think Jota was doing as well. 1 in 3.
What are his assists as well, Avi? Because with the Ekitike, one of the most important things isn't just his goals.
Well
it's
said.
his assists. Because he's interlinked play and all that. What's his assist
Fair,
numbers?
fair.
Well,
But
this last year.
only last season was his first real breakout season. And it's not. I'm not hating on Ekitike.
I know you're not.
This ain't a negative take. I wanted Asim's point of view of what we've looked at to suggest that he's going to be that number 9.
One is, look, Isak is the finished article, and that's why he's 150 million pounds. We are comparing a lot of strikers to Alexander Isak. The other striker was Julian Alvarez. But I think now we've got Florian Wirtz, we've got the chance creation behind Ekitike. So when you look at those numbers, just a striker, forget Florian Wirtz for a second, I'll come back to him. Just a striker, he is going to provide the facilitating role. So when he needs to come on the halfway line, he can connect play. When he needs to come, as we've been talking about, the double 10 role. If you can't play that double 10 role, you're going to struggle in this Liverpool side. And that is the problem, Diogo Jota had, in all fairness, Darwin Núñez to a larger extent had, because with all due respect, those two players, I think, are not good enough on the inside, are not good enough on the technical level. Ekitike has got technical ability in abundance. So he will have no problem in coming into those pockets and picking up the ball. And what we've been talking about is why he's going to be really good for us in theory is he's got the carrying ability, Avi. So he's got the carrying ability and he can dribble. He's had more dribbles, albeit, yes, the caveat is he's been doing it in a German league. He's got more dribbles than Isak. And we've been talking about Isak as he shows glimpses of Thierry Henry where he floats to the left-hand side. That Everton goal he scored where he took 1 million players on. So he has got all the attributes, raw attributes, because he needs to mature. So he's got around 2-3 seasons in a top 5 European league. And I think after Isak and Julian Alvarez, when you look at the market, Avi, is everyone would have cost 60, 70, 80 million pounds. And everyone in Sesko has got a question mark against him. In Gyökeres, 27, why hasn't everyone picked him up? He's a goal machine, but can he do it in the Premier League? Question mark against him. But I think there was less question marks against Ekitike's profile of player. I think he's got more as a player, not about the stats. He's got 3-4 years on Gyökeres as well. Gyökeres is more a goal scorer. but I think he's got more limitations as a footballer compared to someone like Liverpool. And you can go to Arsenal, and when we've been talking about Arsenal, is they've got Odegaard, they've got ball retention guys, and this and that. They lack transition quality. That favorite word of Gene's, but that's why they've got him, because he is that transition type of striker. But because he hasn't got the footballing ability, people say, look, why is it a possession based team getting someone like Gyökeres? Because has he got the footballing ability? But the beauty about Ekitike is he's got a foundation to scale up, and then put him into an environment of Wirtz and Salah and all the creativity behind him and the speed and the intensity of our fullbacks. Then you've got the ability, because he's not all of a sudden the main player. And this is the reason why when Marmoush left Frankfurt, you think that his underlying numbers would decrease, but his goals I think he only got 10 goals after Marmoush left, which was a slight decrease whilst he was there. Obviously, he's a good player, and at the end of the day, it's Frankfurt. He's not going to have a lot of world-class players around him, and Man City got that in January. But when you go, he took the burden on himself, and all these underlying numbers increased. The dribbles increased, the progressive carries increased. So even though he didn't get the goals, the underlying numbers increased. But put him those traits into a Liverpool side where the attention is on Wirtz and the play is going through Salah, Ekitike for me is going to get the extra space in a slight similar fashion to how the extra attention was to Salah, or how Mane got a bit more space than Salah. You could see it on a weekly basis where every defense was slightly shifted to our right-hand side. Our right-hand side was our biggest strength, but it was also slightly a weaker side of a thing. Our strength was our weakness as well when we lost the ball because of Salah and because of the vacated space Trent. So put all those things in a pot where he's got the natural footballing ability, and then what he's shown at the moment in Germany. I think you've got the hallmarks of a really good career. But it's all down to him. Liverpool have done the research. The traits are there. Now let's see if it comes to
all into fruition. Yep.
Abby, just to add to that slightly, just for numbers wise, just read me again Ekitike's stats last season.
Only in terms of goals, he got 22 in 40
league. I mean,
22 in 48. He got 15 in the league in 33, which is a 1-2 return.
So 15 goals and how many assists? Sorry,
assists. I think 8. They had it up 9 assists.
9.
7,
so who's this then? 33 games, 16 league goals and 12 assists.
Ekitike.
No, that's Bobby Firmino. That is last season at Hoffenheim before he signed for us. So the point is, we've got to trust the nerds, haven't we, to say that with these players, I'm the same. I'm concerned that his numbers aren't like astronomical. And the reality is that he has only had one breakout season, but then that's what we've got to trust the committee to say. We find somebody who fits the system, who's that connector, who can play in the pockets, who can link up. And I heard Kevin Hatchart, the commentator as well in Germany, say earlier on in the week that a lot of what happened with Ekitike is that there was 2 and 3 people doubling up on him because he's the main man. That's not happening in the Premier League when you've got Salah and Wirtz and got all sorts of other options. He's going to get more space to operate, and the better technical players you've got. You can't mark them all, can't double them up to all.
100%, 100%. And I want to just finish on, if you go see, and I think a tweet about the graphic as well. It is so similar for Ekitike's last season at Frankfurt and Jota's last season at Wolves.
You mentioned this.
Very similar in terms of underlying metrics, Avi.
Yeah, definitely.
Great stuff.
But it's a real shame because he's going to be on the bench for Isak.
Not a bad player to have on the bench, mate.
You know what we need?
Absolutely, mate.
You know what we need, Gene?
Go on.
When it comes to Isak, we need to make the bid.
Yeah,
that's Asim. Now that's standard. It's a standard procedure. We go in now.
48 hours, Asim. 48 hours.
Will we make the bid?
Bid in.
What's happened to Gaza?
80 million, Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez.
Praying for Paul Gaza.
What's happened to Gascoigne?
I don't know.
Go on.
Make the
I don't know,
bid.
I'll have to check. But on a serious note, I think, look, this is what I said. This is why I was happy when I said, we know the numbers, boys. Now we know, go all in. Go all in. Put your money on the table and say, right, let's start talking. Then we're going to know where he wants to go. Then we're going to know, do you want to come and play for one of the best teams in the world and you're going to be the focal point of an unbelievable side who has a chance to go and win every single England trophy, or do you want to go for money? And that's the decision that he's going to have to make. And if he chooses the Saudi money, fair play, go, no problem. I have no issues with it. People want to go for their dough, that's on them. If you want to become and the number 9 of Liverpool Football Club, and with the players that you're going to be playing with, and to say no to that, then that's a choice that he's going to have to make. I would be surprised if he chooses Saudi over Liverpool.
Gyökeres is Swedish, isn't
he? Yeah, he is.
He's one of them, isn't
he? He's from somewhere for sure.
Hey, Sweden.
I mean, from that area, man, Scandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Yeah. Sweden.
I feel like that we won't make the bid unless we know 100% that it's going to come. And because I just think that would have happened already, in my opinion. So I think if we do make a bid, I think it's going to happen, and then it'll just be about finding the structure and the final price, etc., etc. Because I just think, why haven't we made the bid? All we've done is the Ornstein, inquiry tweet, etc., etc. We've made our feelings clear that we are serious, but we haven't made the bid. And I just think, well, why? And I wonder whether that's a respect thing between Howe and Hughes. And we said, well, listen, we're not going to make a bid unless we know it's going to happen. Because how bad would it be if we made a bid and then kept on going, and then we're like, oh no, we can't come to an agreement on the fee.
Indy just tweeted, we understand Liverpool to submit a bid for Alexander Isak is imminent. 2 minutes after I tweeted, Liverpool make the bid. I can categorically deny that my burner account is Indicalia.
It's brewing though, isn't it? It's brewing. It's going to come to a head.
It is.
It's good to know Indy's watching the show though.
Guys, do we call it a night?
Yeah.
We call it a night.
We could be having hourly shows this week, so it might be a good idea.
Before we
guys,
finish,
come on, what are we on? Let me just check, man. Check.
Before we finish, though, prayers and thoughts with Gaza. He has unfortunately had an incident at home. He's in intensive care, and he's one of my footballing heroes growing up and stuff. So prayers and thoughts, I think, from everyone from the channel.
I just read.
Yeah, hopefully he pulls through. So thoughts with Gaza.
How many likes are we on, Avi?
We're on 513. Come on, man. Let's get it up to 6.
I'm sure there's
a load of you still in the chat.
Many guy. Don't ask me about likes.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
Asim's our there, guy. Asim's our there, guy.
Is it too like are you too big for asking for likes? Like, who do you think you are?
I don't need to ask for likes. People will like the stream regardless.
This guy.
Oh yeah, listen. Let's stop calling people clowns and stuff. Yeah, please. Let's just be nice with everyone. Come on.
Nah, but on a serious note, in serious, guys, to be serious.
Next 48 hours are crucial for our pursuit of Alexander Isak.
You guys said that last week also.
I wasn't here last week. Jake, I wasn't here last week, and I've refrained from giving any bombers. But next 48 hours, it's obvious that will be crucial in this Isak pursuit.
But guys, on a serious note, it's been a. You know what? I wanted a full out.
Super chat. I've got to go.
Oh yes.
Super chat.
Yeah, you go run from some.
People, thank you very much.
Asim Mubarakan, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Selection. Big up Selection. You're back. It's been a while, man, since I've seen you about. Where's he been, Avi, man? You should know where he's been. He's one of your mates.
He's on the crypto bull run. Ethereum's gone up for him. So
look at Jake's smile. As soon as crypto's mentioned, look at Jake's smile get that big, man. It's about time I saw Jake smile. Well, yeah, Selection, big up, where we've already made them a proposition, practically a bid. If they aren't willing to negotiate from there, then what can we do? I think, look, that's a fair point. I agree with you. We've gone there and said to them, the bid, we want a bid. We want the player. If they don't want to sell to us, they want him to go to Saudi and the player wants to go there. We can't do anything about that, guys. We can't do anything. But
And for everyone,
believe.
and Gene, you know that we've got a video. If Isak was to happen, you know there's a video circulating from February, which will be released, guys. This is why I've been not giving any bombers anymore. This and that, because this one video will be the official mic drop if we get
Avi,
Isak.
Avi,
So,
look,
fingers
Avi,
crossed.
Avi,
Fingers
can I
crossed.
just say something? Look, can I just say something? There's two things. Number one, I know in February you said to me, Alexander Isak.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything right now.
Well, I am.
Let's
Yeah.
not say anything right now.
But
Let's not say
we
anything
have
right
to
now.
kick back.
Let's not say anything right now. There's nothing to be said. There's nothing to be said. Guys, this has been Born and Red, hosted by Cheen.
No,
who did
wait,
a-
I mean, let me go before we go. Mohammed Kibriya, the legend. Yeah. Like LFC, BNR have assembled the amateurs tonight. And that's what I was gonna say. And this is why I left this for the last super chat of the night. Is we definitely have, you know what? We had all the big boys on, all five of us. I was waiting, I was speaking to Avi, Jake, and Ben, and I says, you know what? On a Sunday, we're gonna do a show where there's five of us, all of us are gonna be on it, and it's gonna be one of a, you know, going forward. This will be our sort of play. And you know what? I've absolutely loved it. And I'm sure the chat and everybody else have as well. But guys, this is Born and Red. Do like and subscribe to the channel. Become a BNR Ultra if you want. And I'm sure you will see us on your screens very, very soon. Take care and good night.